So Steve Bannon and Megyn Kelly say that Steve Bannon saying pretty much that Trump only got about 6 months to get it done. Isn't that crazy how Joe Biden had 4 years to get nothing done, and now Trump has the pressure to get it done in the first half of the year on his second term.
How? When he has 4 years.
Well, we about to hear. Let's hear what they're saying.
He got a whole 4 years. Hold up.
Wait a minute. So ain't right.
Hold up.
How long do you think Trump has to really get things done?
6 months outside a year. But the first 100 days, first 6 months, you got to be getting all three. You got to get he's got to personally get involved in the bringing to a conclusion the Ukraine war, and I think also this Middle East situation, particularly with the Persians getting close to a nuclear weapon, as he warned about. And I think on the border, the first reconciliation, Miller and Holman, the deportations, building the wall, and then the financial and economic crisis. He's got, I think, outside a year. I would put it as, for planning purposes, 100 days to 6 months. You got to get on with it. And I mean, this is my point. You got to be driving this thing every day. I wouldn't even take off if we were on the team. I wouldn't even take off even Christmas Day now. I'd be grinding every second of every day because they're lying in wait. And remember, they're going to put $1 billion in back of Hakeem Jeffries to flip a handful of seats in the House. On the House side in 26, and the first thing Hakeem Jeffries is going to do is he promises it to his donors, impeach Trump. We're not out of this. We're
How are they going to impeach him for what?
Even everything we accomplished.
Oh, anything he does.
Extraordinary. You and everybody on the media side in this new ecosystem, inspiring people, the people coming out and do it. This is a people's victory. But November 5th, you got to understand, that's just that gets you to the table to start the fight. And it's going to be brutal. They're going to pull out, they will pull out every stop. You've already seen this and what they tried to do, President Trump. And their goal and objective is to flip the House in 2 years. And Hakeem Jeffries, the first thing he'll move is impeachment on Trump and maybe many people in the cabinet. So folks have got to understand this is a political war. Yep. And we're at the very beginning of this. This is not, don't think the great work we did on November 5th means anything to these people. They could care less.
Right.
They're going to fight with every tool they have. And legal tool, political tool, information tool, deal from the bottom of the deck, do things that are unfair. So it's and not even talking about our foreign enemies, the Chinese Communist Party, the Persians, the KGB in Moscow. This is and oh, by the way, you got 10 to 15 million illegal aliens just on Biden's watch. I'm not even considering the people here before, just on his watch. So stakes are high. Let's say 6 months to the outside.
How does he do it? How does he attack immigration in particular? Because what we'd love to see, of course, is an actual law, that tightens the procedures, that makes sure some of these Trump policies become law and the next president has to abide by them, especially if, it's a Democrat. But we don't have 60 votes in the Senate. We only have, 53, which makes it tough because the Democrats could filibuster it. Maybe not, given that the temperature on immigration is so hot right now and even Democratic voters wanted to see a crackdown. So what exactly on immigration do you want him to do?
This is what gets back to this concept called reconciliation. They have this thing, it's too technical to get into, but there are this instrumentality called a reconciliation where you don't have to get cloture in the Senate. You don't have to get the 60 votes. It's majority. They come up every so often. It's kind of a reconciliation of the budget. They're technically, you've got to really thread the needle to use them. But we actually have the ability to do two reconciliations as currently interpreted, I think, by the parliamentarian in this, after Trump takes office. And the talk is to use one reconciliation immediately right after his inauguration, and that is solely for the purpose of the border and immigration. And you only need 51 votes. So you get the change that you need, right? And this is legislation. So Trump hits you with 50 executive orders, just like we did in 16, and like Biden did to reverse it. So you got all these executive orders that unwinds all the madness of Biden. You've also got a reconciliation bill that you jam through with a majority. Right. And that's got not just some changes, but as importantly, it gives Holman and Miller some real powder. You're not going to, it's nowhere in these budgets to start the deportation of these people. But people are saying it was going to cost $800 billion a year. It's not. But they at least get some powder to build the wall, to do other security in the border, to help in those areas in the southern border and actually in the cities, because every town's a border town now. Every state's a border state. So it's taking on the sanctuary cities. There's resources and money in a law that's done, and that's done day one, I hope, by the 20th. That's what they should be working on, or shortly thereafter. And that begins the process. I also think, and we can't be fantasists here, I want all 12 to 15 million gone, not just the criminals. I think you start there. I believe you have to have a sit down, and some of this is happening behind the scenes. You have to go to the frontline countries in Central America. You have to get the Mexicans involved. And she's already said in the last 24 hours, I'm prepared to take guys back. But you have to sit down with them and work out arrangements that,
So I'm assuming that the president of Mexico saying this, we got to take guys back. But it'd be so much misleading information, even about the Mexican president, because sometimes she'll say, we're following what you're saying and we're going to do that. And then I'll see clips saying, we're not doing that.
Yeah.
Unless that's misinformation.
We're gonna fight this all the way.
Right.
How?
Unless that's misinformation that people put on Twitter, because there'd be a lot of misinformation on there. And maybe people are just cutting and snipping things that she's full of saying. We're not 100% sure.
But why would you kind of go against something that?
No, Mexico, just like Trump is going to, have you been seeing the talk about him wanting to adopt Canada and bring in Canada's 51st? I believe that Canada and Mexico will be stronger, even more stronger alliance with America. And once that alliance gets stronger, any illegal things that happen will probably
Fade away.
It's going to fade
because
once we get close, because now you're almost like the states, the country, to a degree, because it's still another country.
Yeah,
just like Canada,
right?
But Canada is more of a it's a little bit more closer than Mexico, not in proximity, but as far as rules and certain things. But yeah, anyway.
Even economically, we're going to help here because we're going to be sending a lot of people back, and we just don't want. We're empathetic people, right? We're not cruel people. We're just not going to do this and give them a bus ticket. It's not going to work like that. So, and you want to take that club out of the media's hands. I think he does some sort of summit, Mar-a-Lago, Rio Grande Valley, you pick it, but we start a formal process of how beyond the criminal element, you start getting these people to take back. You include, I think, a couple of South American countries, like, for instance, where the Haitians, hundreds of thousands of Haitians have been there. There's a way to do this. The guy you want in a room to do that is Donald Trump. This is a big deal.
That's
you get reconciliation, you get money, start a formal process. Trump gets guys in the room. You start the second formal process. By the time you're 6 months to 9 months into this, by Labor Day, we've got traction. This is happening, right? The border's sealed. People are not coming across. We stopped playing the games on the migrant situation, asylum. All those games are stopped.
Yeah.
And you've begun a process of the criminals and the others that he talks about from the insane asylums. That's in movement. Plus, countries are your partners to take these folks back and to work it out. And if they don't, then you talk about the tariffs. You bring the tariffs. You bring economic nationalism or access to the American market. Remember, our market is the most lucrative market in the world for countries. So you got to negotiate. And Trump will use Navarro, and he worked this out in 18 and 19 with the Mexican government. So, but that priority is, and that's that lane. And that's got to hit. You got to hit that hard. You got to hit it fast. You got to hit it right away.
Okay, what about investigations? Because we've seen a couple of things bubble up recently. There's been buzz around Liz Cheney, who we now have reason to believe may have behaved inappropriately. It was made that she interfered in an inappropriate way. Then you've got Fani Willis, whose disqualification was ordered by the Georgia Appellate Court yesterday. Thank God. That was the right decision.
Finally.
And, there's real questions about the behavior of some of these people who have been the main chief antagonists of Donald Trump.
That's right.
There's a split on whether he should go after them. He said success is the best revenge. Not sure I'm inclined to do it, but he's filed lawsuits, at least, against certain media personnel and Ann Seltzer, the Des Moines Register. So what do you see happening on the investigation or, quote, retaliation front?
So you have the three lines of work that are major. Stop the wars, get the finance and debt in shape, the economy growing again, and the border. Then you have to have, and this is not about personal revenge, because people in the Financial Times think Susie Wiles has quoted quite rightly that the best revenge is the golden age of Trump and sunlit uplands. I agree with that. However, this is not about Trump. It's not about Steve Bannon went to prison or Peter Navarro or Tina Peters or anything. We have to do this for the country. This can never allow to be happen. This can
That's
never.
right.
We can't allow this to ever happen
That's
again.
right.
The Washington Post, the Wall Street Journal and the New York Times, Megan, as you know, over the last 72 hours has been reporting, and the Daily Mail puts up a lead. They now, from people in the White House, they don't know if Biden was even in charge from day one.
Right.
Yep.
The investigations, number one, on the vast criminal conspiracy from the Justice Department and the FBI to New York State to Fonnie Willis to all of it on the vast criminal conspiracy against President Trump with lawfare has to be with complete open sunshine exposure. That has to be investigated. It just does, whether it's at the House, at the Justice Department, and the FBI. But also, we have to get into this entire situation of the Biden White House. Why was the 22nd Amendment called? We have to never allow these games to be played again.
That's right.
And by the way, on the vast criminal conspiracy, I do believe some media people are going to be brought into that, because I think once you start looking at text messages, once you start looking at emails, I think you're going to see that people, that there were people, as you know, at MSNBC and some of these publications like the New York Times and the Washington Post that were in on this. And so I think the investigations, we need this for the American people. That's kind of
right.
a sidebar that's going to take its own momentum. But you see the people he's put in the Justice Department around Pam Bondi. If you see Kash Patel, we're not going to back off. We owe this to the country. This does not have anything to be about going to prison with Liz Cheney with an illegitimate committee. But we have to get to the roots of what that was. We have to get to J6.
Sunlight.
Not security. Why, I call it a Fed surrection. The only way to do it is complete open sunshine.
There we go.
For those of us who've been
He said a fake committee headed by Liz Cheney. I mean, this, but I agree with him completely. There does need to be tip-top level of accountability, because it needs to be shown that to this country, specifically to its citizens, to us, the people, that this will never happen in our government ever again.
Right.
Something so unfair, something so heinous, and so much corruption, and the people who needed to be charged with the corruption just put a doggone bill in against corruption. Where do they do that at? Where do they do that at?
Just squeezing all that meat out.
It's like, oh my gosh.
I believe that the J6 thing, because we've been seeing updates and stuff pop up on Twitter and X. People show these little clips, but it'd be hard to validate what stuff be putting up at times. But I believe that a committee be open up and they'll do a deep dive and they'll show you that this whole thing was an entire lie.
Folks, yep.
And then once
could have been prevented.
And once you spam the world, letting them know that this was a lie, people are going to change. Trump is already going to start changing the hearts of people with the TikTok thing, which I really feel like he's going to get involved, and his team is going to get involved, like Elon, who have social media platforms, and they're going to go ahead and figure out how they can get this corrected. And then they start revealing the truth on J6 and all that. All the people that are anti-Trump will shut up. They're not going to say anything about the conversation anymore, because there's no more dinner time talk about, we forget he caused the insurrection of the Capitol. That's going to be.
But the truth was already revealed.
It's going to be over.
The truth was already revealed through when Mike Johnson was appointed the new Speaker of the House. Very shortly after he got appointed, he released the 6. He released a lot of those tapes that were being held up.
But it wasn't enough to make headways. It didn't go around. It's got to start going around through all the platforms.
And then there were conversations of clips on news media where Nancy Pelosi did not do her job like he asked her to do, which was call the National Guard. You need to go ahead and get some people in place, and she did nothing.
It's not. I'm telling you,
she said it.
It will hit. It will hit, but it's going to go. It has to go across the globe and all platforms.
So how much more proof do people need? This is what gets me about people who want to keep looking at life through rose-colored glasses because they don't get the results they want to get. When you get how much more truth do you need?
I can't stand people that can't see the forest from the trees because their emotions are so guarding them.
I'm glad that he is going to seek retribution for the media broadcasting agencies that just flat out lied.
Yeah.
And hold the people accountable who agreed to lie for their gain, to mislead the people, for people to vote the wrong way, and it still didn't work. And anybody else that tried to defame his name and character and prosecute him lies. And what about Letitia James? They didn't mention her. I thought about her when she said Fannie.
I'm tired of her too.
We already saw the article of the clip where one of his attorneys said, try it if you want to, because she had already said something. Try it. We're going to put your Right on in jail, boo. Try it if you want.
All right, and we're gonna end this thing out, man. Y'all already know Trump got to
work out.
He got to run expedited mode. No other president on earth gonna have to run like how he run.
But he already started, which is a good thing. We was talking about that earlier.
He just can't sign
already
stuff
started.
into place yet.
Yep.
All right, man.
Love you guys. Share this video.
Let's go.
Yeah.